Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Let's get straight into it and let's dive in this week into SPY, QQQ, Tesla, and we'll touch a few things on earnings as well. Okay, so here on SPY, we're looking at the 4 hour chart, and as we see here, we have not really been able to break these all time highs on SPY. It's kind of struggling up here. But the game plan remains very simple, open minded to the upside. We need to see a clean break and hold above the supply of 489 to 490. Break and hold above this right here, I believe we have a clear shot up into the 500s. And then for the downside, it's a little tricky here, um, but I like to see a break and hold below this 483 level down here. And this level down here, as soon as we actually break and hold below this, retest it for a move down into this 478 level of the previous structure here. I'll mark it for you guys right there. I'll look into a move into this level here for the a longer term down for the holds puts, excuse me. You could also start trimming at this 480 psychological level if you're in those puts as well. You could also flip long here if you want to catch the relief bounce as well into this 478, 480 level. At that point, it would be pretty exhausted on a move down, potentially back for a move up. Higher risk is this 483 for a bounce level on SPY. Let's move over to QQQ. Or actually, I have that on the tab here. All right, let's go over to the 4 hour as well. And basically, we're going to look at the exact same things on the Qs as well. So here on the Qs, oh, give me 2 seconds, everybody. This is live, and I'm here in the home office, and everybody's running around. Excuse me, everybody. So here on the Qs, we are looking at. Let me make the chart a little better for everybody. All right. So here for the upside, I am honestly looking for a break and hold above this 430 level. For a move up into this 435 psychological whole number level. Break and hold 430 for a move back up higher to this 435. Now, the downside, for me to start looking for the downside, I need it to be below this level right here, as you see, 420. It's not on it exactly, but you could see it right here. Below this level here, a break and hold, we'll look for a move up into this 414, 413. Just so it could come back down here. You could start looking for bounces up at this level as well. The 418 level, you could also look for a potential bounce. So this area right here would be the area of interest for it to come down and bounce, for it to take for a move up higher. Break and hold 420. Be cautious at this 418 as it previously bounced heavily off that level using this candle right here. So just be wary of that. You could be even more patient and wait for 418 to break, hold below it, retest the 418, 420 level for a move back down to this 413 area. So that's what we have for the Qs. And of course, let's go over to Tesla. Tesla Westla. So here on Tesla, it's been extremely weak, as you see. Uh, it earnings report came up short on both revenue and earnings. So that's where you see the big gap right here. We do know that these gaps eventually will fill one day. So you could honestly potentially start looking for longs anywhere in this area for your long-term portfolio. Ideally, I know a lot of people want it to break and hold above 200 to start getting into long-term holds, but why not start getting into it down here? I mean, if you're not in it, down here's below 200 is actually a really good price. Even if you have some already, let's say your average is like 150 and you want to buy some down here, this is a great area to start buying. You have tons of support levels here at the 150, 165, 178 area. Tons of areas of support that you have down here. But again, with all those areas of support, you do also have the resistance above that it has as well. But in terms of a day trade, we will simply look at this area here of the 180 to be broken. Break and hold below that for a move lower up into this 175, where you could potentially start seeing it bounce at this level, at that 175. Um, it wouldn't be a big bounce, I would assume, at this 175, but more at the 170 for sure. And I'll go over to the daily so you guys can see these levels here. You see why I'm picking the 70 level. You see the reaction here on this candle here. As soon as it broke and hold above, it just skyrocketed. But also this area here between 179 and 178, which we're going to grab for a potential area of interest. It needs to break and hold below 180 to 178 to be safer for a move lower into this 175, 170 area for a potential relief bounce. It does have the gap fill, so anything above this 193.15, you should say, break and hold above that, you can start looking for it to reclaim all the way up into at least this 205, 210 area. So it could hold that right there. You could get into long calls, into those leaps, or just basically into those long-term shares as well. Now let's go over some earnings that we have this week. We have a few big names on the earnings report that we have going on this week. Specifically, actually, let's go by day. So we have SoFi on Monday, and what I'm looking for on SoFi is any basically what they kind of have been explaining on their earnings is basically they're going to make profit, but everybody is expecting either if it's a cent above or a cent below of the earnings and revenue, it'll go that way. You could kind of base it off of what has been going on. A cent, anything above this skyrockets, and anything below this just goes straight down, as you see. So I'm gonna play that the same way. I'll probably straddle these since they're so cheap up in this $7 range. So I'll probably just straddle that right there. Let's go to AMD. AMD is what everybody has their eye on this week, especially surrounding AI news, and since they're so heavy in the AI game with their chips. So anything around AI, look for AMD news around AI. They should probably skyrocket. If they do bad, then expect a nice little pullback in the market because you also have Microsoft this week, and they're also on what's gonna bring in revenue through AI. So anything that you see on Microsoft, because these report the same day, Microsoft, AMD, and we'll go to Google as well. which again is going to be rely heavily on AMD and how their chips and AI is moved through all that, and how Google and Microsoft can basically get more revenue on the AI. But the good thing is this daily candle here starting to look a little bit more exhausted on the Google candle, but with earnings coming up, it could just explode straight up and start seeing these new highs officially, since we're basically right at it. Going down past this week, we're also going to keep an eye on Boeing, who report in the morning. Let's remove all these charts. Who reported in the morning of Wednesday, I believe. The reason why we're looking at Boeing is everybody saw in the news that plane, the door came up open. So we're basically going to keep an eye very, very heavily on Boeing to see exactly what they're going to do after those reports. So let's see what their earnings does and how they play it, and if they mention anything about the door during their releases and stuff like that. They are around these huge support levels, as you see, after these pushed these highs. It last was at this 176, 175, rounded down to 170 area if you want, and it just pushed back up to these highs up here. Now let's also look at QCOM for Wednesday. QCOM is the same thing. When we're talking about AMD, Microsoft, it's basically all through AI. Any news around AI, I expect QCOM to beat these earnings and break above. Only thing is that these daily candles do not look convincing to the upside. So we'll see. Nonetheless, with earnings, it's pretty unpredictable. But again, with all these earnings, you could straddle them. That's really up to you. Let's move over to Thursday, which I believe is probably the second biggest day of the week for earnings. So we have Amazon reporting on Thursday evening, along with Meta and Apple. So as you see here, we're at all-time highs pretty much on Amazon, almost approaching it up here. So I think we beat earnings with Amazon, and we move past this resistance level of 172, 173 area for a move up into these all-time highs. With any news around AI and how efficiently they could use it for sales, um, I I believe it breaks up higher and we go up to all-time highs next month, if not March. That's my analysis on that. Apple. Apple's going to be interesting because they're not really surrounded around AI that much. I mean, if you look at your phone, you look at your iPad, your watch, your computers, they all pretty much have stayed the same. The only big thing that they have now is that VR glasses that are coming up, and that's really it. They're not really that heavy on AI right now. So I really don't expect that big of a movement from them, but we have been stuck in this zone right here in between 200, 160. We've been stuck in this zone for the past few weeks, pretty much months. And we can't really break through this here. It in the grand scheme of this, a few weeks, a few months, $40 is a lot. But if you're looking at the big picture, that's not a trend. It's a sideways trend that has been forming. So it's just sideways here. It hasn't really broken above or broken below for the weekly, which would be the strongest trend that I usually chart for long term. Now let's go over Meta. Meta's here at these all-time highs. Again, everything around AI, anything that'll benefit them through AI and their sales, that's what you're going to have to look for this week. AMD is going to be the leading one, and basically what AMD, Microsoft, and Google react to, you should pretty much kind of think that's how Meta, Amazon, Apple would probably react as well. You could straddle these again this week. You could start looking for these straddles. Start looking to gain position for long term. You could probably start hedging your positions as well up into these high levels. Let's go over now. Friday, we have oil. These names have been usually very, very green, but they've been trending to the downside recently. And not really big on their earnings. They've been usually very good on earnings, but it's been 2 quarters back to back where they've missed earnings. So I think we probably missed some more earnings here. But I believe either Exxon or Chev. Sorry, wrote the wrong letter. Is going to start to pick up soon. Whichever of these has the better earnings is going to be the one that's going to lead the market in oil. We do also have steel reporting as well. And as you see where steel is right now, if you look at the past where steel is, we're up in these levels here. These are highs right here from 2008, and we're trickling around this resistance. Well, we'll see what steel does. Either we break above. If we do, I see us coming back up into this $70 range, just up here on steel. If not, I do see us coming back down into the 30 range. And if we do come back down into this 30 range with steel, it's going to be very interesting to see if interest rates do come down. My opinion. That's kind of what I have going on this week. Kind of what I have looking at. Steel is also something good that you could have in real asset, real commodity investments to kind of prepare yourself if there is a recession, if there isn't a recession. Either way, steel is something good to have in your long-term portfolio along with other different commodities. But if you want to have a little one-on-one like that, click the link below. You could sit down with me for a one-on-one about 2 hours. Sometimes it could run a little longer depending on how good the conversation is, of course. And if you want a quick course on how to trade these levels and how to trade, there's Options 101 course below. And if you want to get even more in depth with that Options 101, you could also schedule the one-on-one that I have also linked below. But if you mention that you bought the course, the one-on-one course, we will give you a discount, but you have to show receipt as well. So just let me know. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a green week and a great weekend. See you guys.